We're going to present to you the top different places on Earth for you to add to your bucket list. First up, we're hitting up South America to check out one of the dopest waterfalls in the whole world, Iguazu Falls, right on the border between Argentina and Brazil. These bad boys are in Iguazu National Park, which is like legit UNESCO World Heritage material. Usually, folks who want to hit this spot fly into Buenos Aires first, then hop on another flight to Iguazu. The main attraction there is this crazy spot called Devil's Throat. It's like 300 feet wide and drops down 260 feet. Plus, they got this sick walkway all around it. It's pretty wild, not gonna lie. Next up, we're heading to the Arabian Desert where you'll find Petra in Jordan. That's where the Nabateans used to kick it back in the day, and now it's where the Bedouins hang out. This ancient spot is about 150 miles from Jerusalem and another 150 from Amman, so you can hit it up from either place. You feel me? It's kind of a big deal. Even made it onto UNESCO's World Heritage list and everything. Fun fact: the Romans actually rolled through and took over the place around 106 AD when they were doing their whole empire thing. You can hit it up during the day or night, no sweat. The next place on the list is Cappadocia in Turkey. It's another famous city built right into these caves. These days, it's like this huge heritage site, and it's super famous for those hot air balloons floating up in the sky. They give you this crazy bird's eye view where you can see how gorgeous the whole city is. Getting there is pretty straightforward. You can just hop on a plane from any of Istanbul's main airports to Cappadocia, and the closest airport is Kayseri. After that, we're gonna head over to Costa Rica in Central America. America's like one of the most diverse spots on Earth when it comes to wildlife and stuff. For real, you'll spot all kinds of birds, animals, and plants pretty much everywhere you look. Listen up, though. You gotta check out the wild scenes at Manuel Antonio, plus those dope hot springs around La Fortuna, and don't sleep on those sick beaches along the Caribbean and Pacific coasts. If you're trying to hit up Costa Rica, there are 2 airports you can roll through. One's in San Jose, and the other's up north in Liberia. Real talk, you're gonna need at least 2 or 3 weeks to properly cruise around the whole country. Next up on the list is East Africa, specifically Tanzania. That's where you'll find Mount Kilimanjaro and tons of other mind-blowing stuff. You gotta check out those 6 safari trips in the wild, which you can do while hiking up Mount Kilimanjaro. And the whole time you've got this epic view of Kilimanjaro in the background. Don't sleep on hitting up the coast in Zanzibar and exploring those crazy turquoise waters. It's straight up paradise. When you get there, you can drop a jambo, which is basically "what's up" in Swahili, and Hakuna Matata, which means no worries or it's all good. So we're heading to Southeast Asia, to Cambodia, where we're gonna check out Angkor Wat Temple in Siem Reap, tucked away in the rainforests of the ancient Khmer Empire. Back in King Suryavarman's day, this place was one of the biggest religious spots on Earth when they built it, spreading over like 400 acres. The main temple's got this sick water moat around it, and it was originally built as a Hindu temple for Vishnu, way back in the 12th century. Now we're gonna bounce back to South America, right off Ecuador's coast, to hit up the Galapagos Islands. These are straight up some of the dopest volcanic islands you'll ever see. They've got more than 18 big islands, plus 3 smaller ones out there. This place got famous because of Charles Darwin. You know, the dude who they say came up with his evolution theory while checking out the Galapagos Islands. It's wild, man. They got all these crazy animals and plants you won't find anywhere else on Earth. We're talking massive turtles, these weird sea iguanas, birds with bright blue feet, penguins, and tons of other crazy stuff. Next up, we're gonna hit up Southeast Asia, specifically Bali. That's Indonesia's crown jewel right there. Bali's straight up lit with all these ancient temples everywhere. Got these sick volcanic mountains like Mount Agung, mad beautiful rice terraces, beaches that'll blow your mind. Super chill locals. And their culture is off the hook. Since they got all these different kinds of beaches, you can post up at some popular spots like Kuta, Legion, or Seminyak. The airport you're gonna land at is in this city called Denpasar, which is like the capital of the island. Once you're there, get ready to pig out on all kinds of seafood, plus these dishes called mie goreng and nasi goreng, which is basically just their fancy name for fried rice. No big deal. After that, we're hitting up the Italian west coast at this spot called Cinque Terre, which literally means 5 towns in English. These 5 towns are Vernazza, Corniglia, Manarola, Riomaggiore, and Monterosso al Mare. While you're hanging there, you gotta try all the local seafood along with their home-style cooking. They're big on pesto and wine. Oh, and you'll see tons of grapevines growing all over the hillsides. It's pretty dope. You can cruise around these villages and check out all these sweet, colorful houses and the crazy, beautiful scenery. Plus, you can go on long walks and take a dip. Right now, we're heading to the Indian Ocean, where this tiny country called the Maldives is smack in the middle. It's wild. It's made up of more than 1,000 coral islands and 26 ring-shaped ones. Their capital is called Male, and let me tell you, it's one of the most packed capitals you'll find anywhere on Earth. When you're there, you'll see these insane beaches with crystal clear water that's straight up swimming with all kinds of fish and sea creatures. The best time to hit it up is during the dry season, from December through March. After that, we're gonna bounce to Tahiti, which is part of France. We're back in Peru down in South America. This place is straight up lit. It's got some of the dopest spots on the planet. You've got the Atacama Desert, the Andes Mountains, the Amazon River, Lake Titicaca, Lima, that's the capital, and Machu Picchu. And yo, make sure you hit up Cusco while you're at it. We're heading to Southeast Asia, specifically the Philippines, which has straight up become one of the hottest tourist spots in the 21st century. Get this, they've got over 7,000 islands and like 109 million people living there. The trip kicks off in Manila, then you hit up one of these insane tropical islands. Some of the dopest spots that people are crazy about are Palawan, El Nido, Boracay, Bohol, and Surigao del Sur. Now let's bounce over to the stunning Taj Mahal in Agra. This sick monument was built by this Mughal emperor Shah Jahan back in 1632 and wrapped up in 1653 for his ride-or-die wife, Mumtaz Mahal. The dome on this bad boy is like 240 feet tall, and the whole exterior is decked out in white marble that's mad shiny in the sun. Out front, there's this sweet reflecting pool that mirrors the whole thing, and it's surrounded by these killer gardens. We're heading right now to the world's biggest mountain, Mount Everest. It's chillin' in the Himalayas, right where Nepal, Tibet, and northern India hook up. This bad boy is straight up 29,000 feet tall. The first folks to ever make it to the top were these two dudes back in '53, Sir Edmund Hillary from New Zealand and his homie Tenzing Norgay, who was one of them Sherpa people from Nepal. Now, if you head down south to South America, you'll end up in Rio de Janeiro, which is hanging out in southeast Brazil. You know, that famous spot everyone's always talking about. Rio's got these super lit carnival celebrations and these killer beaches like Copacabana, Ipanema, and Leblon, but that's just scratching the surface, you know? Then you've got that massive Christ the Redeemer statue, and you can hit up Corcovado Mountain and Sugarloaf Mountain. That's some next-level stuff right there. They're all speaking Portuguese down there. Like, bom dia means good morning and all that. If you crash there for like 3 to 5 days, you'll be golden. No cap, you won't regret it. Next spot they're heading to is Italy again, but this time they're rolling to the Adriatic side, hitting up Venice. That place is straight up built on these tiny islands with waterways running between them like streets. It's super famous for those gondola boats they got there. Plus, it was this major trading hub back in the day during medieval times. Real OG stuff. Today you can check out St. Mark's Square, St. Mark's Church, and the Grand Canal. It's seriously got some crazy history vibes. Heads up though, it gets mad packed, and these days you gotta book ahead if you want to visit. Right now, we're heading to the Rocky Mountains up in Banff, Canada. It's this small town with all these different lakes, surrounded by these epic mountains, frozen rivers, and forests everywhere. People come through to hit the slopes, do some snowboarding, mountain biking, and tons of other cool stuff. This spot is super popular, plus they've got these famous Banff hot springs and some killer lakes like Lake Peyto. Lake Louise. We're still in Canada, but this time we're heading east to check out Niagara Falls along the Niagara River. Real talk, these falls are right on the border between the US and Canada, and you've got 3 separate waterfalls: Bridal Veil Falls, American Falls, and Horseshoe Falls. When you're there, you can hop on a helicopter ride, take a boat trip near the falls where it gets mad misty, or just chill and take in the view from the observation spots. The Canadian side is where it's at, though. That's the money spot. Now we're bouncing to the middle of the Pacific, heading to Maui to hit up the road to Hana. This road is crazy winding and stretches for 52 miles, cutting through these sick rainforests on the island. You'll peep tons of different waterfalls and some killer coastal views. You can make pit stops at these little towns along the way, like Paia and Haiku, until you finally roll up to Hana. Once you're there, you've got these dope beaches with red, black, and white sand, plus the Wailoa Falls and these 7 sacred pools that are pretty legit. Right now, we're headed to Patagonia, down in South America. It's spread across Chile and Argentina. This area is totally sick. It's all mountainous and super green. You'll find these frozen rivers and marble caves for kayaking. Now, and tell us in comments which one will be your next.